Hi everyone, welcome back to Meet the Players. This time we are talking to Helle, whom you have undoubtedly also heard on A Song of Tara. Um, a-
Greetings.
Greetings indeed. And this series, as I've described in some of the previous lead-ins, is basically meant as a way for you, the regular listener, to get at least a little bit of information about us, those of us who make up this channel, and we are so we think so highly of ourselves that we are certain that you all want to know more about us. But anyway, yes, we are here to talk to Helle today, and let's start out with whether you would like to give us your full name.
I'm good just with Helle.
Helle is good. That's fine, not a problem at all. And what is your age?
I am 25 years,
25
I
years
think.
old. Yeah.
Yeah, 25.
I like the fact that you actually have to think about. I think when you don't know your own age.
It's because it's because I was born at the end of the year 1991. So it's like, but we're in 2017 now. That's 26 years ago.
I think
But my birthday is in December.
you might just have to think back to your latest birthday and what it said on the cake.
I don't think I got a cake.
Oh, that might be the problem right there, then.
Certainly not one with any numbers on it.
Then that's the reason why you don't know your own age. You need birthday cakes with your age on it. Clearly, make sure your boyfriend knows about that.
Oh, I was about to make you head for that.
Oh, oh shit. Okay, I walked into that one. All right. So anyway, what do you do for in your everyday life?
I am currently a student studying radiography.
All right.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, that would make you basically one of the people bombarding the rest of us with radiation yes, yes.
X-rays for everyone!
You are the people in charge of turning the rest of us into Hulk.
Yep.
Also, it should be said that means that for the listener, I feel obligated to point out that Hille, because of this educational choice, has also learned a great deal about human anatomy. Something with which the rest of us obviously benefit from in role playing terms, but it does also occasionally lead to really, really disgusting information being shared. Just once in
Everybody
a
loves
while.
a gross hospital story.
Yes, yes, gross hospital stories, exactly.
I
Ew.
don't have many of those.
No, not many at all.
I do have one. Should I say
Yeah,
this?
go on.
I do have one about a young lady who found she was really doped on morphine. Who found it very interesting the unnatural ways that she could twist her thumb.
Ugh.
She wanted everyone to see how weird that was.
Ouch. Okay.
And we were just trying to take the pictures.
So basically, you were standing around encouraging her to shatter her own bones.
Oh no, absolutely not. And I don't know what was wrong. Like nothing was really broken. It was in something about the joint.
Yeah, she's double jointed. Oh, cool. Still.
Well, no, she had fallen and then
Oh.
she had gotten some sort of flues in the joint or something. But we weren't encouraging her.
No,
We were trying to make her sit still so we could take the picture, but she kept poking it and twisting it to show us how weird it was.
Ew. No, that's just wrong. Moving on, moving along. That also explains what your education is. But you have, I mean, I'm assuming you have some kind of basic schooling before you got to this point.
Well, yeah. I
Just
mean,
regular
middle
Danish.
school and high school and
Yeah,
two other educations that I dropped out of.
yeah.
Not that
That's
interesting, other than one of them was Japanese.
fair enough. Well, yes, this is also something the rest of us occasionally benefit from. Helle actually speaks some Japanese quite. I think you speak Japanese quite well, actually, don't you?
I've forgotten a lot of it, but my grades were good.
Your grades were good, and your
I'm
pronunciation, as I
currently
understand it,
playing
is.
the. Hmm?
And I believe your pronunciation is reasonably good as well.
I believe so as well.
Yeah.
I am, now that we are talking about Japanese, currently playing Majora's Mask in Japanese, so
Ooh, cool.
I am doing something to
To
not
maintain
forget
it, yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Maintain it. That's the word.
Yes. Well, that's pretty good. That's actually I think, in fairness, that is a language that quite a lot of us just it's complete gibberish when we hear it, and the fact that you actually speak it is yeah.
A lot
I'm
of it is gibberish to me as well. I mean, it's totally different from learning another language in the same, family of languages
Yes.
as your own,
Yes, it is.
because we can relate to actually both the Germanic and some of the Romance languages,
Yes.
and sort of guess at the meaning based on what it sounds like.
Yes. True.
But that's not doable with Japanese unless it's one of the words that they have borrowed from other countries.
In which case, I've heard some of the things they import, some of the words they import. It sounds so bizarre when a Japanese person turns, or when in the Japanese language, something they've borrowed from English, which they then turn into a Japanese word, sounds hilarious.
Here's a fun one, and let's just put the explicit language warning on it already, okay?
Yes.
Yes. Dachiwaifu. That is Dutch wife,
Yes.
which is a sex doll.
A Dutch wife. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, they are assuming that Dutchmen can't get any. Okay.
I suppose that's...
To any Dutch listeners out there, we are certain that you are lovely people and that you get all the nookie you could possibly want. Blame the Japanese, not us. That's actually funny. All
That's
right.
why I bothered to remember it.
Yeah.
I was just looking up the doll, the word doll in an online Japanese dictionary, and then I saw
Yeah.
Dachiwaifu.
Dutchy wife. Good grief. Okay. Anyway, moving hastily onwards. Which of the CharismaToAC campaigns do you currently participate in? I mean, I mentioned A Song of Tara.
Yeah, I'm really just in A Song of Tara.
Yeah.
I was in the original campaign on the channel, which was a Pathfinder game of the Jade Region Adventure Path, but it was in Danish, so it has long since been hidden away from everyone to see.
Exactly. That being said, that campaign is obviously still going, but it's still going. But as you said, it's in Danish, so we've kind of decided that not that much of an audience quite likely for it out there, so it's not getting uploaded. Okay, and then on to the next one. You are, like all of us, obviously, you are represented on the CharismaToAC banner.
Yes.
And as I recall, you are the one on the far left.
Yes, I
the
am.
Banner.
Yes, I am engaging with Daniel and Heine in rules discussion, because you can't really tell from A Song of Tara, where I'm not really that much into the rules. But when we are playing Pathfinder, where I have actually bothered to really get to know the system, at least from a player's side of view, I am absolutely a rules lawyer. Not the bad kind. I'm more of a rules advocate.
Yes,
I will accept it when the GM tells me that, no, we're doing it this way. But it does kind of grind at me sometimes, and I will actually say when the rules are to our disadvantage.
Yes, that's the reason why I personally generally don't mind when you do it, most of the time anyway, because I know that you will speak up when I'm doing something where I'm giving you an advantage you don't actually have what you shouldn't actually be getting. So you're very fair that way in that you advocate the rules both ways.
My alignment as a role player is lawful something.
Yes, I definitely think you would be. I would probably argue that you are lawful good. I would have said lawful neutral right up until the point where you created Tink. Nothing that created Tink can be anything but good.
Yes, that is my alchemist in the Jade Regent game.
Yes, and quite
He's adorable.
arguably the most adorable role-playing character in the history of role-playing characters. I think there aren't any characters in that group who would not quite happily lay down their lives to keep her safe, quite simply because if she did pass away, if she did die as a result of this, I think the whole group might disintegrate in sorrow.
I think our chaotic evil Vikings would have died for her.
Yes, even they. It was quite something. But yes, that obviously is so I'm kind of assuming that you don't really have a problem with your portrayal in that banner.
No.
No.
It is. I mean, it doesn't fit all that well with how I am in the werewolf game.
No.
But it is certainly me.
Yes, but that's mostly, I think, because you aren't too familiar with the rules for the storyteller system.
Yeah, and I just haven't really found the time and stuff to and want to tackle that book, that horribly organized book.
Yes, it is dreadful. We all agree that the World of Darkness books, the storyteller rule books, are legendarily bad. The White Wolf is legendarily bad at creating indices for their books. Holy shit. So, how long have you been role-playing?
I think it has been 6 years now,
Yep.
which sounds insane.
Yeah, well, speaking to someone who's been playing for 31. But yes, 6 years.
Well, the thing is, I've been with the one group the entire time.
Well, that's true. That is rare, I would say, especially since it's your first group. So, normally you might be with a group for a long time, but it's rarely with the very first group you're with. So that I agree is
I have been with one other group for a short time, but yeah. That was at one of the other educations I was at, and then I dropped out, and so I kind of naturally left that game.
Yeah, of course. So that said, seeing as it's been 6 years, how did you get into the hobby in the first place?
Well, actually, the interest came sort of out of, I considered myself kind of a nerd, kind of geek, right? Like comics and manga and anime and all that jazz. But how could I really call myself a nerd if I hadn't played Dungeons and Dragons?
True.
Yes. And so, like, a friend of mine, her brother ran some 3.5 games once in a while, and I was always invited to them at times when I could not join for stupid reasons, like my sister's birthday or things like that.
Yeah.
And so it came to be that one day Rasmus suggested that maybe he could put in a word for me with the people he role-played with, and so I could maybe play with them. And so I started playing Pathfinder with them, and I still haven't played Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, that's all right. That means you're just a higher class of geek. Ooh, ouch, did I say that? Oh, sorry. Anyway, I have to say here, Helle, that, being the oldest person in this group, I do hereby officially bestow upon you the title of geek, because, Dungeons and Dragons or not, I think Pathfinder for this long qualifies.
I believe Pathfinder is a good enough substitute.
Oh yes, I also have to say,
Yeah, I don't really feel like I need to play Dungeons and Dragons as long as I have people to play Pathfinder with.
Exactly. Also, I have to say, by the way, I highly approve of the fact that you actually specifically, you wanted to be a geek. I think that's speaks very highly of you as a person.
Oh, but by now it's kind of fashionable to be.
Well, that's true, I guess.
But to call yourself a nerd or geek or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is.
That's.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that.
No, it was better back when it was counterculture and not cool to be a nerd, and you actually got beaten up in the schoolyard for it. Those were the days.
The schoolyard. What do you mean? I spent my time at the school library reading comics.
Oh goodness. Well, I don't think we had that many comics in my school library.
We had Valhalla.
Then again, it's probably because I'm so old. Anyway, do you have any other hobbies or interests apart from role playing? I mean, you've mentioned manga, anime, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I do occasionally draw, but not nearly as much as I would want or like to. But it's like my creative juices, my drive to draw comes right as I'm getting tired enough to go to bed. I think that is a common problem. It's the same for me in my writing. All the good ideas usually arrive just as my head hits the pillow. Yeah, and I'm a very casual gamer. I play some games on the 3DS, and I haven't bothered to get any newer PlayStation since the PS3, but I like games.
Yep. I know that you have a few that you mention quite often, like Shadow of the Colossus and things like that.
I love that game.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen of the listening audience, that is the sound of a proper gaming geek relating to a much beloved game.
Sorry, that's the door telephone. I shall leave you for a moment.
That's fine. I suppose that is the sort of thing that can happen, ladies and gentlemen. If I had access to music like that, I would now be putting on a heartfelt rendition of The Girl from Ipanema. However, I do not, in fact, own copyrights to or the rights of usage to music like that, so you're gonna have to make do with imagining it. I think everybody can probably appreciate that when it comes down to it.
Sorry about that.
It happens, don't worry. Okay, well, where were we? I think we were at what other hobbies you have apart from that.
Right.
And we were talking about stuff like Shadow of the Colossus and
I will still just call myself a casual gamer. I don't really feel like I am nearly enough into what's coming up and stuff to call myself a gamer.
No, that's fine. So that takes care of all the basic questions. So we move on to the more, specifically role-playing related. So what about role-playing is it that you like the best and attracts you to the hobby?
Well, depending on the game. I mean, for all role-playing games, I suppose there's the having fun with friends and, pretending to be these characters usually with fantastical abilities far beyond what's actually possible.
Yes.
Yeah, and then, well, for Pathfinder, I also enjoy the mechanical aspects of it, actually, which is why I can see the questions too, and I see do I have any pet peeves question, and it does kind of bother me sometimes when we don't follow the rules in Pathfinder.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that I know is
like
you're not the
that
only
that
person
little
in the
urge
group with
to
that.
say this isn't possible. It's not within the rules of the game. The rules say this.
Yes. So those well
But I know that Jonas, a GM, is not doesn't take the rules all too gravely always. So I try to keep that voice silent.
Yeah, you do, but then again, as I said, there are times when you bring it up, but considering that you will usually also bring it up when the rules aren't followed, and it is actually to your advantage that the rules aren't followed. So you will put yourself and the group at a disadvantage as well if that is what the group if that's what the rules actually specifically say that
Yeah, because
that
it
should
bothers me.
happen. Yeah. But that's
And also, I feel like I can't justify speaking up when the rules are in our favor if I don't also speak up when they are at our disadvantage.
which is again, it's that is definitely a positive. It's also quite rare to find that kind of impartiality in
That's why rules lawyers have a bad name.
yes, I think to a great extent that is why rules lawyers have such a bad rep. But seeing as that is one of your pet peeves, do you have any other pet peeves? We'll just take that question now then.
I can't really think of any.
No. Okay.
Is there anything that seems to bother me?
Yeah, one thing.
Okay.
When people speak occasionally, when you know your fellow players get very enthusiastic and speak, and you can't be heard.
Yeah, okay, that's really annoying. And
Yeah.
also, if someone, without thinking about it, reacts to something that I am being told that my character understands from something.
Yeah.
And I haven't acted on that. That's kind of grinding at me.
Yeah. Well, I think the latter one we're usually pretty good at then correcting and saying, no, that it's not you, it's not you doing. It's not, this is something that she is noticing. But I can understand why it's annoying when it pops up anyway.
Yeah.
So on that note, what would you say is your favorite RP system? And
I'm gonna say that it is Pathfinder. It is the one that I understand the best, and it was my first.
yes. Oh, there is something about your first love in terms of role playing. It's very difficult for some people to not go with the first system, and obviously it's a perfectly. I mean, Pathfinder is a very good system. I personally think it had a reputation when it was just released as being D&D 3.7. There had been a D&D 3.5, and it was better than 3.0, obviously, but there was still a number of issues with it. And then
it's actually 3.75. That's why in
right.
Pathfinder Munchkin, well, usually you have some stupid arbitrary amount of time to disagree before the round is over. In Pathfinder Munchkin, you have 3.75 seconds.
That's true. Oh dear God, yes, 3.75 seconds, because it is so hard to distinguish, or so easy to distinguish between 3.74 and 3.76. But yeah, that's good grief. It is kind of funny though that it got a reputation very quickly as being D&D done right. D&D done where all the issues that players had reported on for years were actually taken seriously, and someone had attempted to actually fix it. So yeah, I can definitely see why it's a favorite system of many people, including yourself.
I also like some silly systems. Like I've only tried it once, but Land of Og was
Yes.
a super weird but funny one, and I do enjoy Made for the absolute insanity and weirdness of it.
Oh dear, Land of Og, I think, is probably better for one-shot scenarios than for a lengthy campaign.
Oh yeah, definitely. um, the problem we had with the one game we played of it was that we were doing it over the internet and with webcams and stuff.
All right.
And even with the webcams, it's just not good enough
No.
at communicating non-verbally, as you have to do when there's a list of 16, 18 words in the entire game, and you only know some of them.
Yep.
So we had to make a compromise where everyone knew all the words, but it was still not enough with the ability to gesture.
But the point is that it is a brilliant system when you are actually sitting pen and paper around a table and playing it because of that. And for
there is similitude.
Yes, and for the uninitiated out there who don't know what Land of Og is, in very brief, basically it is a game where you are playing cavemen, and you have a very, very limited list of words, as Helle says, about 16 or 18 words or so, that even exist in the game world. It's not a matter of you having a full vocabulary so Zog the caveman can go out there and spout Shakespeare if he wants. No, Zog the caveman might know the words fire and danger and food. And those are all the words that Zog the caveman knows, which means that he's got to communicate absolutely everything he wants to say with those 3 words and gesticulations, body language. It is hilarious. You're also usually quite exhausted when you've played a 3 or 4 hour session of it. And if nothing else, your jaw muscles will hurt like hell from laughing.
Also, the entire game is played with only d6, and if ever 3 6s are rolled in a row, the world goes under.
Yes, the world comes to an end. Which is obviously quite sad when that happens 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, that didn't happen with us.
No.
What did happen was that one player managed to kill something and happily tried to say that I found food. So he said, "Me food," and another player was like, "You food? Kill."
Yes.
Because he was food.
Yeah, he was food, so obviously he can be eaten. Oh, God, yes. That is very in character for Land of Og. I would heartily recommend it for anyone who wants an evening of laughter.
Very silly game.
Very silly game, yes. So, we've already dealt with pet peeves, so which one of your current characters is your favorite to play, and why is that? And it doesn't have to be, obviously, only characters that appear on CharismaToAC, in which case you would only really have one to choose from.
No, it's gotta be aforementioned Alchemist Tink. I have a lot of fun playing her, and her... she is quite bothered, troubled is the best word, troubled by the necessity of killing when we are out adventuring, when that is not something that she likes on either an emotional or ethical level.
No, she is a very, in fact, I would say she is an incredibly decent person in a very harsh situation. It should also be said that Tink, of course, is a rat folk, and she is, as mentioned before, she's absolutely, utterly, almost impossibly adorable, which is in no small part thanks to the fact that Helle actually makes a different voice for her pretty consistently when she plays. So the voice.
Yeah, but I don't know, the last few weeks I don't feel like I've been able to make it properly, and it just sounds weird if I try to do it in English.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You don't have to, but
Yeah,
basically Helle usually goes up half an octave or something when
yeah.
she speaks as
Squeaky voice for the red.
squeaky voice for the rat, and of course she's yes almost impossibly cute, and this is a very, I should probably also point out, it is a quite furry group, seeing as they also have a cat folk, so they have both the rat and the cat, and the two of them are, well, pretty much best friends. It's kind of funny, really. It's all the things that Tom and Jerry has been teaching us for years is impossible.
Well, question though,
Yes.
because Jerry has blown up Tom, but has Tink ever blown up Nyami?
No, I don't think she has. Well, yes, actually.
Has Nyami been caught in the fire?
Yes, early on in the campaign, there was a situation or two where Tink's bombs scattered, and hit the catfolk, who
Okay,
was
so it is Tom and Jerry.
less than impressed. So
I
yes,
mean, it's not Tom and Jerry unless the rodent has actually blown up the cat.
that's true. That's true. Good grief.
I hate Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, it's kind of nasty, really. So-
I always root for Tom, and he never gets to kill that stupid mouse.
It's that there is that, and it's also it's also I'm not I like the old ones. I like the old Tom and Jerry, the 1930s 1940s ones, but I'm not a big fan of the newer ones because, well, substandard animations and me don't go along too well. Anyway, about your characters, if we're talking all time, and I mean you have been playing for 6 years, so there are a few characters to pick between there. Who would you say is your all-time favorite, and why is that?
I still think it's Tink.
Well, I'm kind of glad to hear that, considering that it's in the group I'm GMing.
No, I feel like she is the most fleshed out character that I have played, and I enjoy the mechanics surrounding it. I enjoy the role she plays in the party, in the way things unfold around her.
I would imagine that I personally thought it might be her or Alkis, actually.
Yeah, I had tremendous fun with that character as well. Well, that was a somewhat flamboyant male halfling bard with the craziest perform skill, because I was like, I have so many skills and I get so much out of perform, so why not just max it out in all the possible ways that I can? And I mean, there was other things that I liked about him than that, but just the fact that I had, at the end when we were level 15, 16 or something, I had like plus 42 to my perform sing and perform dance.
Yeah, I think you broke the 60 barrier, didn't you?
Only because I got some aid and other from you guys. But the point is that we were playing with Daniel as the GM, and he was super cool with the fact that I rolled super high on perform, and the rule said that if you roll 30 plus on a perform check, that is good enough to attract attention from other planes. That is how good you are at that point. And I got to a point where I couldn't roll below 30.
Yeah. Well, you could if you rolled a 1, because that would have been a failure, but...
No, that's not a thing for skills.
No, it's true, it's not. It's only for to hit rolls, isn't it?
Yes, and for saves and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So I couldn't roll below 30, and the first time that really showed, like really showed, was when when he was invited to play at an Ifrit's daughter's birthday on the Plane of Fire.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And
I got a wish from this Ifrit in return for actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then came the oh fuck moment where I hadn't thought I would get a wish for it, and I hadn't planned a wish, and it was from an Ifrit. So if I didn't word it super carefully, it would just screw us over.
Yep, because that's what Ifrits do. So yeah, I would say that's another good character, but still, I'm glad to hear that you think Tink is your favorite overall as well. I personally think she's an absolutely incredible character. So would you say there are any? Oh, sorry, please go on. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that it's kind of troublesome how used I've gotten to the high praise I get for Tink. I don't want it to get to my head, but I've kind of gotten used to it.
And so, are there any certain types of characters you're more likely to play, both in terms of roles and or personality types?
I find it extremely easy to go for the snarky types as for personality. Like with Finna, that's really a lot of just channeling myself a lot of the time.
Well, it works.
Oh, yeah. With the stupid fucking humor.
Yes. And roles, I mean, I've seen you play more than one bard over the years, so...
Yeah, I like kind of... I don't think there's just one role. I really like buffers. I will say Bard is still probably my favorite class in Pathfinder because I think it's amazing to just throw a crapload of buffs at my party and then see what they can do because of that. Sort of, leading my friends to the spotlight like that. But I also like being, playing the frontliners and stuff, or... Yeah, debuffers are fun as well.
I would say that having witnessed your glass cannon par excellence, I can say that which is a character from a Way of the Wicked campaign that we once ran in this group, that you can certainly make frontliners who can do an absolutely ludicrous amount of damage.
Well, that is also because of favorable interpretation of the rules by the GM.
Well, true, but still, that was pretty extreme. And of course, I just have to interject here that being a very old hand at anything D&D or Pathfinder related, as I am, I personally still find it sort of weird to hear anyone say that their favorite class is the Bard. Because, I'm old enough to remember when the Bard was the most useless thing ever. And these days, of course, it's just anything but.
Yeah, but that's because now this Pathfinder... And Pathfinder Bards don't have to spend a standard action to maintain their performances.
Exactly.
When they are high enough level, they only need a move or a swift action to even start it.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of telling that the man who designed Bards in Pathfinder, James Jacobs, his favorite class is the Bard.
Yeah. And they genuinely work. They're not overpowered. They're balanced with the rest of the they are balanced with the rest of the game, and they work, which is something I think can be said in general for Pathfinder, is that they are reasonably good at balance, I think.
The thing about the Bards in Pathfinder, just to drill these, they even have a class feature called Jack of all trades, but they are not master of none.
No, they can
be. They are master of whatever they want to be the master of in Pathfinder.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. and they really are. I mean, there's them and there's there are the rogues, and they can slug it out for who's the bigger skill monkey, really. But
Bards.
I would
Versatile
say
performance.
I would say yes, exactly. I would say the bards are, and then the rogues have a few other advantages, obviously. But yes. Anyway, on to the next question, and that is there any type of RP that you haven't tried yet, but that you would like to try?
What do you mean by type of RP?
Genre, for example, any, even if there's a type of character, but class, for lack of a better word, that you would like to try but haven't really done yet.
Well, I'm a bit sad that I don't have the time to participate in the what's that superhero game that's also on the channel?
Masks.
Yeah, Masks.
Yeah.
We had a one shot just to try it out, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, time is an issue. I would have liked to participate.
Yeah, well.
But I have tried it, so it's not like entirely within the frame of the question. But
well, I still think it counts because it's something that you would like to try. You know, not as a one shot, but something you would actually like to play more regularly.
And maybe with a character that I had a little more time to figure out who was.
Well, that's always the case when you've only played something once, isn't it?
Yeah.
You usually only get to know your characters after a little while.
Yeah, but even going into it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a difference between actually having a solid grasp of, or somewhat solid grasp of who your character is before going in, and just going in with a vague outline. Like most of the characters that I have played, I haven't had that much of a feel for them going in, and that's probably also what makes Tink stand out, because I did know so much more about her, and I made the conscious decision upon character creation that I knew that she had no intention or even thought about going out adventuring. So I made sure that absolutely nothing, either in her inventory or in the chemical formulas she knew, were adventuring related.
No, it was
really the only thing that was pretty much that she has bombs.
Yeah.
That's because she's a pyromaniac little shit rat.
Yes, and she likes fire.
And no, the words pyromaniac little shit rat do not describe her well.
No, it really doesn't. She's if anything, she's a pyromaniac little adorable rat. Which is even more disturbing if you think about it.
She just thinks that it's fascinating and pretty.
Yes, it's very pretty.
And it's not about setting fire to things, it's about throwing a rock into the ocean and seeing how big of a splash she can make.
Yeah.
But with fire.
With fire, exactly. Yeah.
Fun fact, I wanted to make a goblin alchemist with bombs, but I wasn't allowed, so I made a red folk instead.
Yes. And the reason for that really was that there is a fairly large goblin
I definitely
in the beginning of the campaign. So
yeah, it makes total sense.
Yes.
And I am glad I wasn't allowed to make that goblin.
Yes, because then we wouldn't have had the pleasure of Tink's company.
But I still want to someday try and play a goblin adventurer who has been removed from goblin society and stuff, and is trying to fit into these other humanoid societies and be a good person, but still struggling with the goblin nature. Yes. Oh, that's a kind of roleplay I'd like to try.
That would be fun. Yes, I think that counts as something you would like to try that you haven't done yet thing. Yes.
I want to try playing the insane little goblin who's trying to be good but failing hard.
Yes, constantly probably failing hard, I think, knowing you.
But not for lack of trying.
No, not for lack of trying. And I'm in a bizarre and slightly disturbing way, I think that character would end up being adorable as well. It's scary, really, to think of. Well, on that note, do you have any advice for other would-be aspiring role players out there, for for them to take away as words of wisdom?
Don't be afraid of inter-character conflict. I mean, conflicts between characters. They make for amazing role play and makes it interesting, but make sure that it stays in character. Do not take any grudges out of character.
I think that's excellent advice.
But in that sense, also make sure that the other players are on board with it. Do not just do something awful to screw them over. Make sure it makes sense in character, and that they are on board with it.
Yes. Again, I think that's actually very good advice, especially since many people out there have this I almost say pathological fear of having bad characters, evil characters in their groups and so on. So I would agree with you on that, definitely.
I'd also like to try to see actually if I can play a chaotic evil character but still have them be somewhat likable.
Yeah, that's
I wanted to do that with we've started a game of Skull and Circles also, which is a pirate campaign in Pathfinder, where I made a chaotic neutral character that I wanted to move into chaotic evil territory to see if I could do it, but yeah, game fell apart.
Game fell apart, unfortunately, for various reasons, mostly because well, quite frankly, the first book of that campaign is pretty horrible. Apparently, the following books are really good, but the GM burned out on it before we got that far.
Yeah, and the players kind of got burned out on. Well, the way it was set up kind of disencouraged us from having actual role play between characters.
Yeah.
So we didn't. So we spent a long time with rolling dice to figure out what was happening on the ship and trying to win over the other to win over the NPCs to our side, but not getting to know the other characters.
Yeah, and it was mostly done exactly via dice rolling. We rolled dice to see if we could bring people over to our side. We didn't get to really roleplay it, and that's not because the GM in this case was unimaginative or anything of the sort, but there were literally systems in place in the campaign to do this,
and to keep us apart.
And this, I mean, any role-playing campaign which basically starts out with the premise, don't let the characters interact with each other, has a problem, in my opinion, a pretty serious one, in fact. So yeah, that was a shame, but and I have to say, I think your character was interesting, and I certainly think it would have been possible to move her into that kind of chaotic evil field that you spoke of, and at the same time keep her, as you said, interesting and likable.
Yeah.
I think
I wanted her to be the kind of character who could go straight from being friendly with everyone to mercilessly killing a prisoner or something without feeling anything for them, and then going straight back to that.
Yes,
friendliness.
One of the reasons why my character genuinely wanted to make her first mate, because there was some real potential there. So on that note, do you have any GM experience that you can share?
Absolutely none.
Absolutely none. And if you don't have that, as you don't in this case, is it something that you would like to try at some point?
Maybe, I'm not really sure.
There's no immediate wish for it right now, anyway.
No, I don't really feel the storytelling drive. I'm more.
You're more into.
I enjoy being along for the ride and not make crazy amounts of prep.
No problem. And finally, last question: Is there anything else about yourself that you would like to share with the world?
Um, no, not that I can think of.
Not that you can think of. No.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think we're good.
I think we are. And on that note, then I'll say thank you to you for taking part in this, and to the listening audience, please do check out the other Meet the Players videos that we have uploaded, and by all means keep spreading the words of CharismaToAC. Please, 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 please help us grow our numbers. We really want to have more subscribers than we do now, because it's fun
Oh
to have.
my God, you are pathetic.
Yes, I am. I'm horrible, but you should have heard Heine do this when he interviewed me. He was worse. Uh, he was worse. So yes, on that note, I'll say thank you and goodbye for now. So see you later.